let's get started. Thank you all for coming around this afternoon. I thought it's useful to get you all together so that LTA can run through and brief you all on some of the findings that we have uncovered during the checks and rectifications that took place from early this morning. Overall, actually, it was a very, very useful thing that we did in terms of delaying the start of service on Sunday morning to give us an extended period to carry out the checks and the rectifications. And we've actually uncovered what I thought was actually a number of interesting findings centered around the floating slab tracks, where we found a number of other claws of the third rail that were dislodged. And Chong King will brief you in greater detail and share with you the technical aspects. Progressively, they were updating me on the discoveries and the work that they had done, and as a result, because the checks and rectifications needed a bit more time, we were not able to start promptly at 10 o'clock this morning. We had to delay it somewhat, and I know it also again caused some inconvenience to commuters, but I think it was overall worthwhile that we did this thing together. I want to also acknowledge the efforts of the SMRT staff, the LTA staff, especially the engineers who spent a lot of time. I think about 150 of them in total actually went down to spend the night combing through, doing the checks, doing the rectifications. I will just jump very quickly to some of the conclusions and some of the measures that we're going to put in place. Because there is now some indication that we ought to focus more of our attention and analysis on the floating slab track areas, we are going to run the trains through these parts at a reduced speed of 40 kilometers per hour, both for the east-west direction as well as the north-south direction. What this means is that it will add about 5 minutes from an end-to-end journey, which usually takes about 60 or so minutes. So from, for example, Pasir Ris to Joo Koon, instead of 60 minutes, it will add 5 minutes to the total duration of the journey, since we will be running at reduced speeds over some parts of the track. Second thing is that we have had to take a number of trains out of operation because of the damage to the collector shoes. And so this will reduce the number of fleets that we can put into number of trains that we can put into service come Monday morning. So during the peak hours, we have slightly longer headways, whereas the shoulders of the peak and the off-peak hours, we will be running the trains as normal, in normal intervals. Second thing is that we need to monitor more closely the vibration, both on the train as well as the track. And hence, LTA, besides directing SMRT to run the trains at a slower speed, has also communicated to SMRT the need to put monitoring instruments on board as well as on the track to monitor vibrations at specific locales. All right. So those are some of the things that we will need to do, and we are fully committed to finding the underlying causes of the incidents that took place both on Thursday and Saturday. We have some more information that we will do analysis on, some things that are throwing up very interesting findings which we will dig deeper into, but it will take some time before this can be completed, but we will spare no effort to do so. And I seek the cooperation, the understanding, as well as the patience of the commuters during this period while we work hard towards rectifying the problems that we face. I ask Chong King now to give the briefing, and then we can take some questions from all of you.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you all for coming again. I will now give a presentation, which basically is really a brief summary of the findings of the inspection that LTA jointly did with SMRT following the end of revenue service last night. So it lasted till this morning, and as Minister have explained, originally we estimated we could restore service at 10, but I think due to the need for more detailed inspection along certain sections, therefore we had a further delay in that opening. Okay, so let me now proceed with the briefing. The agenda is as what usual. First, I'll just roughly tell you what the inspection is all about in terms of the scope, and we'll then run through the findings, first for the track and on the train, which were the focus of the inspection last night. Minister mentioned about the floating slab track. In short, we call the FST. I will explain what that is about and how it's relevant to in this instance, and drawing some conclusions from the inspections, followed by what we're going to do going forward. Next, please. So last night we carried out, as I've said, the track and train inspection concurrently. On the track side, a total of 122 LTA SMRT staff were involved. Okay, we had a joint effort. We combed the system. And what were we looking for? We paid particular attention to the third rail assembly. This third rail assembly, I mentioned yesterday, it is actually it's a third rail, is actually a conductor that actually provides power supply that feeds to the trains. Okay, so we went into great detail looking at each of the assembly. We look at the fixtures, the mounting bolts, the expansion joints, the ramps, and also we look at the third rail gauging. What is this third rail gauging? Third rail gauging is to make sure that relatively the position of the third rail is in the right location relative to the running track, so that when the train runs on it, the correct character is actually collecting the power, drawing the power from the right location on the third rail. So these are important aspects that we looked at. Next. On the train side, we had a total of 40 staff, again, joint effort between LT and SMRT, that comb all the 3 depots on all the trains. We have a total of 123 trains that SMRT is operating. And what were we looking for? We looked at the collector shoe assembly in particular, because we were concerned that whether this had any impact in terms of initiating the faults that we saw the last two incidents. I think once the media followed the team, we showed the team how we went about doing some third rail gauging. Third rail gauging is to make sure that the corrector shoes are in the right position relative to the train and therefore relative to the track. And as part of the inspection, we also went through a visual inspection of all the underframe equipment to make sure that there was no obvious anomalies in terms of loose covers and things that are actually hanging that might have been missed out in the earlier review. Okay, next. So what were our findings? Basically, we saw that there were a number of missing third rail claws. Okay, I will show you some pictures later on what the rail claw is. And this third rail claw basically is is a device, okay, that forms part of the third rail assembly that actually hangs on to the third rail itself. The third rail is actually being supported by this. I have actually got a mock-up that I can show you later. And this particular third rail claw we found has been missing in a number of places, and the quantities are shown in the table below. Of course, we found broken collector shoes as due to the breakage of the collector shoe from the train as it hit some of the third rail. And we also found some of the damaged third rail covers, including expansion joints. Okay, the details are in the tabulation. And if you look at this table, I'd just like to highlight specifically on the north-south line, the southbound direction, we had more numbers than on the northbound or eastbound or westbound. Okay, we had 18 missing third rail claws. We had, when I say missing, actually some actually dislodged onto the track. Then we have collector shoes that are broken. We have 4 numbers we found, and we found 28 numbers of damaged third rail covers. Okay, on the northbound there were also some, but in terms of numbers are relatively lower. Okay, and overall total, these are the numbers that we're looking at, 21, 6, and 34.